right, welcome. We are going to get started. Can I have roll call, please? Oops, sorry.
Yep, certainly. Mr. Antoine?
Yes. Here.
Mrs. Bonnick? Here. Mrs. Bowman?
Here.
Mr. Boyer?
Here.
Mrs. Chahaki?
Here.
Mrs. Eichhorst?
Here.
I am here.
All right. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. May I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion.
Moved by Rice. Seconded by
Mrs. Eichhorst,
Bauer?
before
Yes.
normally, we've got a closed session with no action.
Okay.
If we can
Oh,
move
yep.
5 and 6 up before, I guess it'd be letter I, closed session, that way folks can move on with their evening. Thank you.
Okay, so we will move up for the good of the district and the second public comment.
Yep.
Right following the regular action items. Okay. Any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, let's move on to Bulldog Spotlight.
All right, Mrs. McFarland, are you introducing this evening? Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone.
Good evening, everyone. So if you want to go ahead and advance to the next slide, Dr. Robinson, thank you. So I wanted to bring some of our middle school students and staff to the March Bulldog Spotlight because March is Middle Level Education Month. You're very well aware of our connection with AMLE and our partnership with the assessment that we took and some PD that we've offered. And I just wanted to make the public aware of how important the young adolescent, ages 10 through 15 is. It is the second time that a significant biological, cognitive, and social emotional change happens with the brain. So we know the birth to age 3 is the first, where the most learning occurs, and the young adolescent is the second stage, where the most foundational lifelong learning patterns, behaviors, and attitudes towards education happen. So I'm very pleased to bring forward some of our students and staff from Romeo Middle School that are going to talk about how we are creating a strong culture and an opportunity for kids to expand their learning beyond our school walls and begin thinking about their future. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Martz, or one of the kids will probably just come up and start because
They're middle schoolers.
they're very self-directed.
We got some slides.
Hi everyone, I'm Lily. I'm Madison.
And I'm Ethan.
And we're 8th graders at Romeo Middle School. And we're here to tell you a little bit about our school.
You ready?
Yeah. Yes. Let's go to the next slide.
Who's got that one?
Go to the next one. Yeah.
All right, there you go.
So right now, we're going to start off with something we start off every morning in advisory, which is tell me something good. When we share out something good that's happening in our life or something positive, like for example, I have soccer practice tonight. I'm looking forward to that.
I have softball this weekend. And I went for a run yesterday.
Okay, cool. Do any of you guys have something positive you'd like to share?
Sure.
The future
that you're
looks
here.
bright with middle-level adolescents like you.
Yeah.
We also do another thing in the mornings. We start off with doing something called social contract, where we go over these goals that we set for ourselves and see what we want to specifically aim for that day, like kindness or being engaged.
And our social contract is a list of words that we came up with as a class, kids did, and we put it on a sheet and it hangs in the back of the room, and we all agree on a word to work on throughout the day, and we rate ourselves at the end of each class period to see what we need to work on. and it really helps students like realize what they did wrong or right each day.
And going on with the social contract, that also brings us to our greetings, which are a thing that everyone works on. And we took our own lesson to do that in Leadworthy. And it's just being professional and teaching younger kids how to engage with adults. So we have this thing that we did at our school, and it's called the Nonprofit Fair. And we had 57 nonprofit organizations come in, and we had 6th, 7th, and 8th graders participate. And it's a guaranteed 6th grade experience, but this year is our first year that we were doing it. So we had all the grades participate, and I just think it was like a great opportunity. The leadership students, which is us, we helped our nonprofits that we were assigned to, and we just helped them out anything that they needed, and they filled out an assessment form, and they had nothing but positive things to say about us. There was a bunch of options. There were church options, like if you're like in like a religious community, just like up there, there's a bunch of kids there. They have nature, pets, there's like anything that you could possibly think of.
I personally love this fair, and I've already been looking at volunteering with a few of these organizations. It was great to get involved with them before I stepped in so I could get to know what they were all about.
Yeah, it was good to have a lot of options open to us for future, if we need to put it on our resume or like college or for high school.
Yeah.
And I think all the organizations really loved seeing us and having, like, introducing what their organization is and how it can impact our community. Yeah.
Yeah, and personally, I got connected with the Soho nonprofit, and it's Student Optimists helping others. And I just think it was a great opportunity, and I thought that was one of my favorite ones that showed up. And I just think that it's a really good opportunity for all the kids, and it's just a way to get work with your community.
Did we talk about our podcast?
Yeah.
So we hosted a podcast kind of with Ford NGL, and we talked about our school and what we've been doing for 7 years, and like what we've been.
Feels like that. Thank you for the validation.
Yeah, so we've been doing, and we host like a podcast for them, and we became an academy, the first one in Michigan.
Part of the K-12 community.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, and we were able to share all of the opportunities that we've been blessed with here at Romeo Middle.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any questions?
I just want to say the fair was very impressive, so thank you to the adults, but also the students that helped facilitate that and run that. It was very impressive and it was just great for the community, but also us to see all of you students in action. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Good job. Good job.
All right, we are going to.
So, Mrs. Eichhorst.
Go ahead. You're welcome.
I feel compelled to speak a little to this
Yep.
slide. So after an extensive master planning process that for some felt like 7 years, but was probably closer to 2, the podcast that the students speak about was their creative way that they chose to present our master plan to Ford Next Generation Learning. So it was an extended opportunity to talk about the plan and the plans for the transformation of Romeo Middle School. They asked some questions, good questions, and then took some time afterwards. And on March 11th, we received official notification that we were designated as a member of the K-12 Community Network. We're the first middle school in the state of Michigan to be designated as a Ford Next Generation Learning Middle School. And to the best of my knowledge, the fourth nationally within the network that's been formally designated. So congratulations, Mr. Marks. And those from the middle school staff and students that are here tonight, we're really excited about the future journey and grateful for all their efforts. Last but not least, the vision of Mrs. McFarland. She plans and organizes and gets people to meetings and doesn't get upset when they don't. Like, I think the time that she spent with Mr. Martz to just scale this up and stay the course, it wouldn't be possible without her. So thank you, Mrs. McFarland. That's her spotlight.
If anyone wanted to view that podcast, where could they look for it?
I don't know that we recorded that one because it,
Okay,
okay,
okay. All right,
yeah.
okay. That's why she said sort of podcast.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
recorded Zoom meeting
Okay,
from
all
Fort
right,
NGL.
awesome. Right, okay. All right, no problem.
They did have little microphones though. Like, it was a cool setup.
All right. All right, well, we have no presentations tonight. You are certainly all welcome to stay, but if anybody who is here for the Bulldog Spotlight doesn't wish to stay, now would be your time to exit. But otherwise, we are going to move on with our consent action items. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Bonnick,
Support.
support by Antoine. Any questions? Just like to note that item G, we do have 4 things listed there, or 3 things listed, but they are a first reading, so it's just an acknowledgement, and they will go back to policy for further discussion. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Consent action passes. Moving on to communications.
So although it's not a bullet there, and I haven't, we've kind of held it a little close to the vest because it already changed once, I'm pleased to share with the board and our community that the governor is visiting the high school this Thursday afternoon. Going to spend about an hour, wants to spend, the governor's staff reached out more than 2 weeks ago, and originally we had a tentative date of March 12th. But something changed in her schedule, and that's why I think you kind of want to wait as long as you can, because that just happens with visits like that. We've been trying to get her to the district for a while now, and it's been the intent of her staff for her to visit. So this Thursday in the afternoon, she's going to spend about an hour at the high school. She really wants to see some of our version of career technical education in action and spend time with our students. We'll have a short opportunity right after the end of the day for her to interact with some of the high school staff. No big press conference. I think maybe some local news media will be there. But just appreciate the opportunity to have someone from Lansing come down and see the good work that's going on. So we're excited about that.
All right. No other communications. We will move on to committee reports. If you want to start with policy, Mrs. Rice.
We had a very good policy meeting on the 5th of March. There is a few items that came up for a first read. I will say that the bylaw 1001 is back in committee, not ready yet for a first read, but as soon as that's ready, we'll bring it back. Policy 4003, conditions of employment, pertains to the ESTA, or the Earned Sick Time Act. So that's a law, and it replaces the current Paid Medical Leave Act. So we are putting that forward for a first read. When negotiating contracts, we'll have to negotiate PMLA out of the contracts and negotiate the ESTA. So it's kind of like a changeover. We have policy 4005 for a first read. That is the ideologic and political symbols policy. We are adding this policy to eliminate ideological and political symbols unless they pertain to curriculum at hand. So that is moving forward for a first read. And then so it says policy 5008, but on our agenda 5003. So is that?
I would go with 3.
Julia?
We're going to go with 3?
One of them's a typo.
I think we have I think it's 5003.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken. So that is the meal charge and food service. So this policy was vetted with the MISD and legal counsel. So both MISD and legal counsel says that we should not move forward with the Miller-Johnson update of the changes. So there's no changes to the legislation, so we're going to leave this policy as is. Okay, and that was it.
Questions from the meeting?
All right, we'll move on to facilities.
Okay, we met last Wednesday, the 12th, and it was Mr. Hockey, Mr. Boyer, and myself, with many members of administration and Barton Mallow, and our architect. We talked about Group 2 projects, which is the administration building renovation. You'll see something on tonight's agenda as well that has to do with a mechanical inspection that made us have to do a different type of return air ducts due to the building being old and wood. And they'll be doing a lot of that over spring break when many of our administrators are either taking vacation time or can work elsewhere when schools are not in session. Group 3 projects, we talked about the drinking fountain replacement project. This was the one that we rebid just so we could also qualify for grant funds, Croswell, Havel, and Indian Hills. And that's on your tonight as well. The ninth grade academy abatement, this is the full inspection. The scope is looked at in the full bid process. We had a good response. We received competitive bids, and we're comfortable with the lowest bidder qualified, which is on your board packet tonight. And then we also talked about the furniture at the ninth grade academy. As all the updates and changes are going, the finishing touches is the furniture, so that is moving forward. And then discussion-wise, we chatted again about the courtyard project at the high school. It is definitely something that we all still want to see come to fruition, but the timing right now, we're just not getting it in the budget that we need it to be in, and possibly need to relook at the design or the materials, that type of thing. We also talked about an extension for our ABM custodial contract that's on tonight's agenda. The study session follow-up, and also that we're going to do a committee of the whole, which you see in the upcoming meetings on April 21st, just with a lot of discussion of our upcoming, looking at our full facility plan and upcoming bond issue, opening up our subcommittee to the committee of the whole so that everybody can be there if they so choose. And we adjourned at 5:14.
All right, thank you for the very thorough reports. Any questions for facility? All right, moving on to superintendent report.
All right, Mr. Murray.
Good evening, everyone. Just have a few things for you tonight. The first from the elementary perspective, although it encompasses K-12, I believe, right? Yeah. Okay. Romeo will be well represented at the McCall Tech Conference on Thursday and Friday of this week. Mr. Antoine, I don't know if you're headed down there. I know Miss Bonick will be there, but it's always a fun time to go down and just learn about some of the new technological aspects that can potentially impact teaching and learning in the classroom. Again, nice cross-section of teachers heading down there. I'll be there as well, particularly interested in learning more about AI. Seems like you can just never learn too much about it because it's just evolving so fast. Ways to make technology accessible for all of our students, regardless of kind of where they are from a teaching and learning perspective, and then looking at the latest collaboration tools. And so I'm excited about the opportunity. It is in Detroit this year, which is nice because then I can commute back and forth. Grand Rapids is fine, but being away from home with 3 kids puts a lot of strain on my wife, so it'll be easier to just head back and forth. This year, we are venturing into a more formalized preschool to kindergarten transition. In years past, we've had some crosstalk between our preschool teachers and kindergarten teachers, but we're really sinking our teeth into increased communication, collaboration, really sharpening focus both ways on what preschool looks like and what kids maybe are coming out of preschool with and what they are expected to have skill-wise when they get to kindergarten. And so it's been a nice intentional effort from our elementary principals and Mary Sullivan, our special ed director, and also the staff at Croswell, Ms. Beck and Ms. McFetty. And so I'm excited to see what that'll yield in terms of our ability to move our youngest learners into the elementary level, just make it a little bit easier, less stressful for the kids and the teachers. And so that's an initiative that we have going right now. And then the last piece from me tonight is related to just some afterglow from our March 5th PD. I thought it went really well. One of the big pieces that we are taking away and will continue to work on is feedback from teachers that we want to organize and share back out related to, I think in the past in the district, we've called them ins and outs, but these necessary skills that, like the non-negotiables, if you will, as kids transition from one grade level to the next. The things, for example, that a first grade teacher would like a kindergarten teacher to know that, are uber helpful in terms of teaching and learning at that next grade level. Obviously, everything's important, but also if everything's important, nothing's important, right? So we really want to zero in on, what are those key skills and dispositions that kids can have to continue experiencing success at the grade level above. And we did that work on March 5th, kindergarten through 5th grade. So it's our intent. It's my intent to work with our elementary principals and to kind of get that into a nice formal document and then dump them into our elementary curriculum drive as well as share so that, we do have a more intentional focus related to those important pieces as kids move from one grade to the next. Questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I will not be at McCall because we have a busy week in district this week. So just secondary schools are beginning to build their schedules. So counselors have been in classrooms and soliciting course selection from our students at all, 5th grade through 11th grade. And so principals are looking at numbers and who's requested what. And I think we have a meeting on Thursday with Mr. Osbold at the high school still in the morning that Dr. Robinson and I will maybe hear a little bit about what kids are leaning towards and staffing. Ford NGL, we have a study visit. We have 29 partners from Scotland. They arrived on Saturday, and they will be with us Tuesday and Wednesday this week. And there are 3 or 4 Ford NGL staff as well that will be with them. So tomorrow we're at the high school. And some of you are joining us for our retreat at the end of the day at the high school. And then Wednesday we'll be at the middle school in the morning. And then in the afternoon we'll be at Croswell in our large meeting space for some of our teachers and other staff to do some roll-alike sessions where there's an opportunity for some two-way dialogue between the Romeo staff and the team from Scotland. Just a reminder, we don't have a board meeting before, but state testing begins the week of April 7th. So I believe the SAT, PSAT 9-10 is on April 8th, but those watching this should make sure they check their emails from the principals because the testing schedules have been published and sent out for the past couple weeks at all levels. MSTOP, all the good stuff in April. And then 8th grade, we'll celebrate middle schoolers again. They go to 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. I believe they leave on April 9th. So that's an exciting trip for them. Do we have 4 buses this year? 4 buses. So that's an increase. I think last year we had 3. So we've got 4 buses of our 8th graders headed to D.C. for a couple days. And then they'll come back tired as all for their parents. So that's all I have. Are there any questions?
Will you be chaperoning that?
No.
But why not?
I have chaperoned many 8th grade Washington,
She's
D.C.
paid her
trips.
dues.
Leaving at 3 a.m. in the morning, having someone spill coffee down the middle aisle of the bus. No, thank you. Stinky boy bus. I always got stuck on the stinky boy bus as opposed to the girl bus that smelled like perfume. So I'm good. I've lived the life. Thank you, though. If you haven't RSVP'd and board members, if you are around on tomorrow at 2:30, 2:45, you're more than welcome to stop by. We have about 100 and some business partners, our Scottish friends, students, staff. So it'll be a great time.
Meeting in the Commons or the?
In the
auditorium?
Commons.
Okay,
And we have assigned tables.
all right.
I am not good at party planning. The assigned tables, I'm hoping will go well.
Looking forward to it.
All right.
I look forward to it too. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Robinson?
So we've got some resolutions on the table tonight. We've got some of our contract folks from Barton Mallow here. Mr. Storm is here. I just want to give the opportunity if we have any questions in regards to the drinking fountain replacement project, asbestos abatement contract for the work at this building, the furniture proposal, or our board required change order. We can get clarifications on that before we move into the action portion of the agenda. Any questions? All right. In terms of communications, took, to the best of my knowledge, in between 3 or 4 days for our special edition of the Bulldog Beat to hit mailboxes, and we're just excited. I want to thank Mrs. Brush. That was a pretty heavy lift for the better part of 6 or 7 weeks, just to figure out the best way to really, celebrate almost a decade of facilities transformation. We're grateful for the community for their support of, those critical bond issues in 16 and 21 and the renewal of our sinking fund along the way. But I think one of the things that we really wanted to highlight is it isn't just about maybe what you see when you drive by on the outside and you see a mess around a building for a specific period of time. And we really have done our best to align facility improvements to the transformation of our overall instructional and extracurricular programs. So I would encourage anyone, now that it's warming up a little bit, if you regularly come to board meetings, it stays daylight longer, take a walk down the sidewalk and, take a look at our new baseball and our 2 new softball fields. Just super excited. Best tryouts we've ever had because they aren't in the gym anymore. Just appreciate it, and we wanted to, really lead this new year with that celebration. We certainly have some work left to do in the 21 bond, but as the board knows, in our recent study session, the opportunity's there, and we'd like to get to the finisher, as the superintendent calls it, or phase 5 of our long-range facilities plan. And that publication didn't necessarily get in the weeds of that, but we're going to be reaching out in the next few weeks for input, not only internally, but also externally, on the things that we're thinking make sense in this next round of facilities improvements. We actually traditionally have done a February mailed district newsletter, but because of our work on the special edition, we've converted our traditional February newsletter that kind of recognizes CTE Awareness Month. I know that was part of our spotlight last month. So we have an electronic edition that's going out in conjunction with the Academy's annual retreat tomorrow. So we've really set this up to be an artifact for our business partners, but also our greater community. And, for those families that receive this through school messenger email, you don't have students necessarily at the high school yet. I think the opportunity to spend a few minutes with it will create some excitement for what's to come in the future for even our youngest learners. Just a couple other things, in terms of future bond planning. I'm grateful for the board for the study session and our ongoing conversations around this topic. We're scaling up to run a series of, I believe, 12 focus groups. These are virtual conversations with our marketing consultant, April 1st and 2nd. So we'll be reaching out both through our principals to fill some of those staff groups and a larger audience. I know that we have a collection of 800 regular voters in the community that will randomly be sending letters to fill, I believe, 2 or 3 of those focus groups. Once the focus groups are completed, we then finalize a community survey, and that'll be put out for about a week to gather voice from a larger audience, including, the opportunity for open-ended response on things that, that maybe we're not considering that we should. And we'll take all of that input and continue moving forward with the goal of developing a Treasury application for the board to give a thumbs up to as we get closer to Memorial Day. And then ultimately a meeting with the Department of Treasury in middle of June, and hopefully their approval on our application to move forward. Mrs. McFarland kind of hinted we're well into 25-26 school year planning. For some of the parents that have reached out, we'll be pushing out the annual calendar. I hope to do that even possibly before spring break. We got a few I's to dot and T's to cross, and making sure everyone's on board in terms of some of the events that happen prior to the start of school that we know parents want that information on. So the calendar is set. The calendar has been set because of our great work to have a 3-year contract with the REA, and the calendar's connected to that. So this probably is the earliest we'll be sharing calendar information in terms of the following year, but we know that's important to folks. So as you're enjoying your spring break and you're looking to plan the next one, we'll make sure that we have calendar information available to our families. Mrs. McFarland talked about staffing. That's a big part of this year, and that looks different at every level. We're taking course requests at the high school level. We're looking at class sizes and staffing allocations at the elementary level, and kind of a combination of both at the middle school. We'll begin to formalize, Mrs. Lasky and I, some budget assumptions to work through with the board, but probably set up to have a little later budget season at the state level. But we have the governor's budget proposal out, and we have some portions of the House's budget proposal, which will help us. We've reached out to our enrollment forecasting company to have a update based on our fall numbers being in there. And then ultimately, we've shared with the board that initial list of district leadership priorities. We've done our second round of rankings, and we'll thin that list down, and I'll share that with the board probably the end of this week. So those are the things that I have in my report for tonight.
All right. And if you noticed, there was a nice email from MASB probably 2 or 3 weeks ago summarizing Governor Whitmer's budget proposal. So that's a good email to look back, just to kind of brush up on what's being proposed at the state level. I am going to, our first public comment is up, but I don't have any slips for tonight's agenda. And just a reminder, if you do need to speak at the second public comment, you need to get your slip in prior to. We don't accept them as you walk up. So with that, we are going to move on to the regular action items. I am going to begin with resolution number 28, personnel update.
So moved.
Okay.
Support.
Okay, moved by Bonnick, supported by Anton. Quite a few retirements on there. Have you noticed and read through those? Mm-hmm. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item B, Employee Services Resolution 29. This is the Board of Education policy update that we read at the last meeting. It's policy 3001, speaking to how we develop curriculum and to make sure it's equitable in regards to our different types of funding.
Motion.
Support?
Moved by Rice, supported by Bonnick. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, moving on to item C, Employee Services Resolution number 30, the Board of Education policy update, policy 4004, which deals with the evaluations, discipline, discharge, and resignations. Again, that was put forward for a first reading at the last meeting.
Motion.
Support?
Motion by Rice, support by Bonnick. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Item D, Facilities Resolution Number 31. This is the ABM Custodial Service Contract Extension, which Ms. Bonick referred to in her facilities report.
So moved.
Moved by Bonick,
Second.
second by Bauer. Any questions?
Boyer.
Boyer. I think she said Bowman, I'm Boyer.
Yeah. Boyer's kind of
Bees up here.
There's a lot of bees up here. Got you.
All right, any questions? No questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item E, Facilities Resolution Number 32, the Drinking Fountain Replacement Project.
Motion. Second.
Okay, motion by Rice, support by Chahaki. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, moving on to item F, Facilities Resolutions Number 33, the Ninth Grade Academy Abatement Service Contract.
So moved.
Moved by Bonick,
Support.
supported by Bowman. Any questions? All right, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Item passes. Item G, Facilities Resolution Number 34, the Ninth Grade Academy Furniture Proposal, as seen in your packet.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Bonick,
Support.
supported by Rice. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And lastly, Facilities Resolution Number 35, the change order approval.
So moved.
Moved by Bonick,
Support. There you go.
support by Bowman. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. We are going to move on to board discussion for the good of the district, if anyone has anything.
Well, I was at the robotics competition over the weekend. I was there all day Saturday, about 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. My husband went on Sunday because my daughter's on the team, and they won second place. So it was way over my head, but I started to learn a little bit. But it was really neat to see the excitement on these kids' faces. And I'm not just being partial, but Romeo's robot that they have for the theme this year was the sharpest, best looking, best functioning in my opinion, and I'm really impressed with what those kids did. So it was great.
All right, anyone else?
I'd just like to also kind of comment that looking through our personnel report, we're definitely losing some high-quality veteran teachers, so Godspeed that we recruit and hire well, and also just congratulations to them. Many of them are working through the end of the school year, obviously, so I know we usually have an opportunity to celebrate them at the end, so that is something I will look forward to, so.
It's that time of year. Anything else? All right, then I have one slip for public comment tonight. Mr. Weirs, if you'd like to come forward. And you will have 3 minutes, please.
I don't think you need to time me.
All right.
I practiced a lot. So.
Okay.
Good evening, board members. I'm here tonight because I understand you're considering offers for 297 Prospect Street, including one from GSOPS. Over the past year, I've attended community meetings where GSOPS shared its vision, transforming the site into a green space that blends education, history, relaxation, and community engagement. I'd like to highlight that vision and the potential for an educational partnership with RCS as you consider the offers. GSOPS envisions this space as an outdoor learning lab where students engage in hands-on experiences in environmental science, sustainability, and technology. Smart Story Posts would integrate AI and augmented reality, allowing students to explore 3D renderings of historic schools, see AR overlays of native ecosystems, and interact with adaptive AI-driven lessons. This enhances RCS curriculum at no cost to the district. For students at the academies at Romeo, this offers real-world project-based learning. Instead of just studying environmental science, they could apply it. coding AI guides, designing AR experiences, and developing sustainability solutions. This hands-on work builds critical thinking, teamwork, and innovation, giving students ownership of their learning. Some may argue that RCS should retain the land for future use, but partnering with GSOPS achieves that goal. The district would maintain educational access while GSOPS develops and stewards the space as a lasting asset. Others may focus on financial offers from developers. However, a one-time payment and minor tax revenue won't significantly impact RCS budget, and new housing could increase enrollment costs. In contrast, GSOPS provides long-term educational value while preserving the land for future generations. A green space also aligns with community interest, avoiding increased traffic, congestion, and environmental strain. Partnering with GSOPS would demonstrate RCS's commitment to sustainability, education, and community well-being. This decision isn't just about short-term finances. It's about long-term impact. A GSOPS partnership enhances education, supports innovation, and strengthens community ties. Unlike private developments, this space would remain accessible to students, families, and the public, a source of pride and a hub for learning. So what kind of legacy does the board and RCS want to leave? In my view, selling to GSOPS is the clear choice. The only question is whether to accept the full financial offer or adjust it to allow GSOPS to focus on developing the space for the students and the community. If public education's mission is to enhance learning, support students, and engage the community, then partnering with GSOPS is the best path forward. I urge you to support GSOPS and accept their offer for the students, for the community, and for the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. We are now moving on to the last part of our agenda, which will be a closed session, and we will not be coming back out to vote on anything. So can I have a motion to go into that?
Motion.
Motion by Anton. Support by Boyer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you for coming.